Hello everyone, welcome back for another ReZero episode review, episode 6, to give my overall initial thoughts on the episode in one take. Much like every other episode this season, the exception of few, it was okay, it was decent. A lot of people say it was 11 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Then also I heard people say that the episode was alright, nothing special. I of course was more or less on the side of the alright. If I were to give it a number, I would say 7. That's why I give a lot of the ReZero episodes, around the range of 7 or 8. Before I get into the two main topics I want to talk about from the episode, I want to talk about and address something I saw a lot of people saying. So before I watched the episode, I saw a lot of people mad or disappointed at the animation for this episode, which of course affects some people's enjoyment. But for me, I didn't see a problem with the animation. I thought it was perfectly fine. That was okay. It looked normal, it looked good to me. But at the same time, I'm not the biggest stickler on animation quality. For me, as long as it's not egregiously bad, I'm okay with it. But I do understand where people are coming from when they say that the animation was poor. But at the same time, I don't know what they're talking about because I didn't see any bad animation at all. I thought it was just an average episode of animation. If you get what I mean, that makes sense. But yeah, but let me introduce the topics. So I only have 2 topics I want to speak on today. And the first one is Subaru taking the trials in Amelia's stead. And the second one is the discourse in the mansion. There are only 2 moments that I felt held the most importance during this episode. With that being said, let's get into the review. The first topic obviously is of course Subaru taking the trials in Amelia's stead. The first thing I want to talk about in terms of the span of moment is Garfield. So first of all, let me preface this. I'm going to be that guy. I am that guy. That guy that everyone hates and no one likes when it comes to things being adapted. I'm going to be that guy because for me, I try not to be this guy. Or let me not say try not to be. I understand how the anime works and how they're going to miss certain gaps in terms of the adaptation, and also I have not read the light novel yet, but I get all this, I understand all this. But even still, with my knowledge from the web novel, I'm not trying to weigh it heavily over the anime, but this is a moment where I was looking forward to from the beginning, from the first everything after the second episode or first episode, because for me this is my favorite moment within Arc 4. And one of my favorite moments within ReZero as a whole, probably like top 15, maybe top 10. Specifically what I'm talking about is Garfield denying Subaru the ability to take the trials. So I didn't like the way the anime did it because it was not just bad, it was so poor for me. Because as we know, for the people who have read the web novel, we understand that Garfield's character in the web novel is far drastic than what is being presented within the anime. But when it comes to the anime, I would say Garfield is a more docile version of himself within the web novel. Because as of right now, when you look at the anime, Garfield, there's nothing to him. We understand his character because it's pretty basic, but I felt that within the time frame of the span of episodes, and then we look at the time frame of the span of chapters, we got to understand Garfield a bit more. That's not my problem. With him not denying Subaru to take the trials in the way that he did within the web novel, it completely erases an emotion that we're supposed to feel towards Garfield's character. And I'm pretty sure you all can agree with me on this when it came to this moment when Garfield denied Subaru taking the trials in the web novel. Everyone, you can't tell me you didn't feel anger and hatred towards Garfield. Because the way they set up Garfield's character was that he refused to let Amelia take the trial. Because he was constantly irritated. He did not like the fact that Amelia kept failing over and over and over again. And so he was finally fed up, and that's when we see within the last episode, he finally let Subaru go to the mansion and say, hey, when you come back, you finna take this trial because I can't deal with this half-devil constantly failing. But then when he finally dies and does the loop over again, and Subaru goes up to talk to Garfield and say, hey yo, I'm finna take the trials instead of Amelia, and then out of nowhere you see Garfield do a complete switch up 180 contradiction of himself within the previous loop and say, no you're not. Amelia is finna be the only person that's gonna take this trial, and she's gonna be the only person that I allow to take this trial, which makes you feel a certain way towards Garfield, makes you feel a certain emotion and anger and hatred towards Garfield, which I think is great. Because as of right now, when you look at the anime, there isn't much on Garfield. Like, you understand him, but you don't really care for him. At least this from my perspective, and I talked to a few people from the Discord, and they said they feel the same way when it comes to Garfield, because there just isn't much to latch on to him right now. And I felt that this was going to be the perfect moment for people to get an emotional investment within Garfield. Because if Garfield dies, it's kind of like, do you really care? I mean, at the same time, no one really cares if anyone dies because Subaru has returned by death. But if he were to die, would you sort of feel away though? I would say no, because I don't know him or I don't feel any emotions toward him. So therefore, if he would have died after he rejected Subaru taking the trials, and then I could have felt an emotions that's probably joy or something. But the way that they did this in this anime, I didn't enjoy it at all, because it was just completely brushed over, not even looked at, barely paid attention to, didn't really care. I was very highly disappointed. Very, very disappointed. It's, as I said, this is my favorite moment, and well, not favorite moment, but one of my favorite moments in Arc 4. And to see it butchered like this, I was highly, highly disappointed. But other than the negative, let's talk about the positive, and that is Emilia. And that has to do with Emilia telling Subaru that she wants to take the trial. And I really love this moment, because Emilia is gaining confidence. She doesn't want things to be done for her, and I think it is great because it shows how confident in Emilia, even though she's being broken down and constantly tortured by what we obviously assume is her past. It shows that she wants to conquer this, not for the sake of the villagers and the sanctuary, but for the sake of herself, and she wants to overcome this and gain more confidence. So I really like this foundation for her character right here. I thought it was really, really good. But as in everything within this specific topic, the only other small little thing to talk about is Ram going to the mansion with Subaru, which for me, I didn't think much of. I thought it was just okay, nice dialogue. You kind of understand that there's something going on with Garfield in relation to Frederica and the stone. So it's just interesting to see there. But let's move on to the second topic. The second topic, as I said, I want to talk about is the discourse within the mansion. So this one isn't going to be very long because it's just a bunch of action per se. But it was interesting to see how defensive Subaru got towards Frederica because of her promise. And one thing I didn't like, and this has to go back to the previous episodes, and that has to deal with Subaru's anger about the contracts. So in the previous episode, I think it's episode 2, they were did this. So in episode 2, they were supposed to explain how severe contracts are to the people of Lagunica and just the overall world of ReZero and how important they are. But because they didn't do that, you couldn't necessarily understand where Frederica was coming from, which for me, I didn't necessarily like, but it is what it is there. But I think from an anime only perspective, it was fine, because at least you feel some type of way towards one side, which is cool. But I think they should have done it where you should have felt some type of sympathy for Frederica. But all that was just good. But then, no, the best part that everyone likes is Elsa showing up and having Petra in her hand with a knife to her throat. Oh, it was great seeing her pop up. That was good. That was really, really good. As people, as I said, were complaining about the animation. To me, I didn't see a problem. I thought the animation was great. It was nice seeing the fight. Well, look, I wouldn't say fight, but scuffle between Frederica and Elsa, and Ram was also attacking, so that was good. She actually had a good hit in on Elsa. But the thing I really want to talk about is Frederica transformation, because I didn't see that coming. Because for me, this is the first time I'm going to an episode of ReZero fully blind. I had no idea what was going to happen in this episode, because none of this happened in the web novel. None of this played out except for the ending, but the way they got to the ending was far different than what we got here. But in the web novel, they didn't show, if I'm not mistaken, I talked to a few people about this, or I think I talked to like 2 people about this, and they said that Frederica doesn't have a transformation in the web novel. So it was odd to see it, but at the same time, I like the transformation. My only problem with the transformation was that for me, it looked too cute and nice. I felt that it was just like sort of underwhelming, because I was expecting it to be a lot more ferocious. Like, it was okay, but at the same time, I just felt, it just felt a little too cute for me. But that's just like a nitpick, and it doesn't really matter. Other than that, the rest thing that happened from the episode, Petra died. Okay, give it up. And then the last thing that happened was Subaru had a face-off 1-to-1 with Elsa, and seeing her, he then ran into a door in which Beatrice was on the other side. And before the Beatrice thing happened, Elsa slashed something. And so I'm not sure if Elsa actually cut him, because I think because of that last slash right before Subaru went inside the door, it might be one of those cuts where Elsa slashes someone or cuts someone as she did in the first loop and as she did in the first season, where it doesn't open up until some moments later. So that's what it kind of looked like to me. But that's what I think the cut at the end was doing. As for Beatrice, we see her at the end, and Subaru's pissed off and angry as to why Beatrice saved them. So that's going to be an interesting conversation to see next episode. I'm looking forward to seeing that and how that goes down. But that's it for the review. I hope you all have enjoyed. Tell me your overall thoughts in the comments, how you feel about the episode. Once again, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was particularly anything too special, but it was like a solid 7, maybe 8. It was good though. But follow me on Twitter. Join the link that's in the description. That's for the Discord. I finally actually made it. I'm always in there chatting it up. But I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.